What I was saying is that we are always ready to get dissolved into a pleasing weather. But weather is not like that all the time. It is supposed to change. Cyclone is also a natural phenomenon. We call it act of God. What if somebody wants to have sunny days all the time? So is there anything wrong of having expectations? No, not at all. All of us can run, but we cannot run as fast as an Olympic medal winner. Why? He has trained a lot. Visit Yala on a rainy day. And since you experienced that extreme weather, who rejected that weather that day? Good morning, everyone. Good morning. So I believe you are at the end of your Sri Lankan visit, and today we have a sunny day. It's a very beautiful morning in Sri Lanka, and your hotel is also very beautiful, and the sea and everything. So people, when travel much, obviously mostly to see, experience the nature, and they want to be like the nature. They want to dissolve themselves with the nature, right? But in past few days, Sri Lanka faced a rare occasion of a cyclone which has devastated most of the part of the country, and people are suffering. So of course we are in solidarity with the people who are suffering at the moment, even now. Now whoever who wants to get themselves dissolved with the nature, would they ever want to get themselves dissolved with a cyclone or a tsunami or a drought? We do not want to. What I was saying is that we are always ready to get dissolved into a pleasing weather. But weather is not like that all the time. It is supposed to change. Cyclone is also a natural phenomenon. We call it act of God. There is a term called act of God. In Latin, they use a very nice word called major force, which is beyond the control of humans. But what if somebody wants to have sunny days all the time, but he faces a cyclone instead? I'm pretty much sure you did not want to go to see Yala on a rainy day. Your expectation was a sunny, beautiful day where you expected to see tigers, elephants as much as possible. But what happened? It rained. Not only a simple rain, it was a heavy shower. I'm going to ask you a question. Who wanted to visit Yala on a rainy day? And since you experienced that extreme weather, who rejected that weather that day? Can you show your hands? Who rejected the weather? Nobody. Nobody wanted it. But you took it. That's great. That's the spirit. But then you will see, as long as we reject what is happening in the nature, then there is a friction which generates inside. When we face a difficult time, if we lose a loved one, okay, if we face an uncomfortable situation, we tend to reject it. As long as we reject it, there is a friction built inside. That friction, my friends, are the suffering we undergo mentally. So the friction happens when we reject what happens in the present moment. Right? So that is okay with the nature. But when we apply that nature to our self, so raining, cyclones, droughts, all those things are in the outside world. But we have a world within. What happens within? Now, since we are very developed beings, we have developed a lot of technology, we can overcome most of the issues and we have eased our life a lot. We enjoy a lot of luxury. Because of that development of technology, we tend to think we are not a part of the nature and we are something external from the nature. It is because of our human experience, we have developed a lot of tools to overcome problems. But even though we have overcome certain problems, the reality is we are also a part of the nature. So if the nature changes over time, a sunny day could become a rainy day, a peaceful wind can become a cyclone. Similarly, our mind can also undergo different natures. So I am pretty much sure after 14 days in Sri Lanka, you are in a very peaceful ambience within. But that is only one expression of your mind. You have to remember. The current peaceful condition in your mind is only one expression of it. In the very next moment, there can be a cyclone within. There can be flooding inside. Are you ready to accept it? If you are not ready to accept it, then the friction will arise. What is the friction? Your expectation is something, but the result is a different thing. The conflict between expectations and the reality, the result. So I am telling all this to explain, to make yourself understand the importance of a spiritual investigation in one's life. So we learned about two things, expectations and the result. Your expectation is a sunny day, but the result, the reality is a rainy day, a cyclone. But then you have to remember, then you may ask me, so is there anything wrong of having expectations? No, not at all. The mind is there to create expectations. We create expectations. But then the result is there. Expectation and the reality. Expectation and the result. Having expectation is okay, natural. And the results, the reality is also natural. Then where the issue lies? There is a nature in our mind that we think our expectation should be the result. That is where the problem lies. Not the expectation, not the reality or the result, but when we tend to think our expectation should be the result, the friction starts. Right? Then in the spiritual path, you have to remember, Spirituality is always an investigation, a process of investigation. That means we question what is happening. We question. So far, for the last few minutes, we were questioning and answering through our own experience. Then we found out there are expectations and there are results, and the friction comes when we think our result, our expectation should be the result. So then you have a question, you will get a question, why our expectation won't be the result all the time? Sometimes it does. Now you expected a sunny day today, now it is sunny. But yesterday it was not. Why our expectation is sometimes becomes the result, and why our expectation would not be the result on the next day? Why? Have you ever questioned why? Please question yourself and answer. This is what spirituality means, right? The session is all about questioning and answering with your own experiences. Why do you think sometimes our expectations won't be the result, the reality? I will tell you the reason. Where do we create the expectations? In our mind. Not in Galle, not in Sri Lanka, not in a country, not on earth. We create our expectations inside our mind. Where does the reality happens? Outside the mind. So within the mind, when we create expectations, we need data. We create our expectations using data. Data of whom? Whose data that we are using? Our data only. We use only the data that we possess. Okay? Two individuals without any communication cannot share data. You will have your expectations based on your data. She will have her expectations based on her data. So our expectations are different because our data are different. So with the limited data that we have, we create an expectation. But when in the reality, when things happen in reality, it doesn't only go in line with our data set. It has other external things, events. That is why I use the term the act of God, force major. The forces beyond our knowledge. The forces beyond our data. So our expectations are pretty much within our control, but the reality is not. There are other data which we are not concerned of, which we were unaware of. So as long as we do not have this understanding of the fact that we create our expectations based on our data, but the reality happens based on data beyond our control and beyond our knowledge, we won't accept the result to be the expectation. We would only think our expectations should be the result, but there is other way also. As like we think our expectation should be the result, why can't we think the result was our expectation? So what you need here to overcome the friction inside your mind is simply an understanding, which in the spiritual language we call it the enlightenment. It is not magic. I am sure you have heard of the word the enlightenment. So if you have the understanding, our internal atmosphere is limited to the data which is limited internally, but the external atmosphere is governed by so many other natures which is beyond our control or which is beyond our knowledge, you are enlightened. Can you see? It's so simple. So in Christianity, they call it, now you are in heaven. Right? So in Hinduism, they may call it the philosophy of Shunya or the Vimukti. In Buddhism, we call it the Nirvana or the Buddhahood. Or simply, if you take all those religious nomenclature out, you can simply call it our understanding. So then the question arises, how do we get to this understanding? So I believe that you had your basic education in schools, in kindergarten, then in schools, then in colleges. To understand a subject, to understand a discipline, you went through a process, right? At birth, you couldn't speak English. How did you learn speaking English? You went through a process. You didn't know maths. You didn't know arithmetic. You didn't know geology. Now, how do you know that now? You went through a process. For understanding, there is a path. Right? Then the next question which should come, if you are a spiritual being, now if you are a religious person, you won't go for this path because you simply want to believe. But here you are questioning. Now you want to investigate, how do I get into this understanding? That is the point the spirituality discuss about mindfulness. You have to be mindful of what is happening within. With every experience in your life, in your day-to-day experience, you be with your mind and question, what is happening with me right now? When you see that your grandchildren or your children have succeeded in their life, they have graduated themselves, or they have won a lottery, or you have won a lottery, you become so overwhelmed, right? You become so happy. You are over the moon. That is an event in your life. That is a human experience. But if you are mindful with the experience, you question, why do I feel so happy right now? When I acquire something, when I receive something, when my loved ones receive something, why do I feel happy within? You question. If you do that, you are mindful. On the other hand, there are points in life where you feel angry. Right? Now, as an example, now I heard that he promised you a farewell dinner tonight. Right? So you might have so many expectations about the farewell dinner. Right? And as I could remember, he said at 6 o'clock you have to be prepared for the farewell dinner. But let us assume today at 6 o'clock, Nilantha would come and say, there is no farewell dinner. You are on your own. Then the event, now an event. So maybe you get mad. You waited until the last moment to say that we are not having dinner. But if you are mindful, you will not let it simply pass just as a human experience. You question. Okay, you might scold him or hit him or whatever, but still after you question, why did I go mad? Why do I feel this burning sensation? You question within. That is mindfulness. Now, if one can apply this simple exercise hereafter in his life, you may not be able to do it all the time, but gradually if you practice it and try to introduce this query inside, gradually you will get to know something very interesting. Now you are starting to learn about you. Until now you have been learning about others, about politics, about science, about material things outside, about sun and the moon and the universe. But yet you have not learned the most important subject in your life. That is about you. Can you see? The subject which we have forgotten, which we could have studied from very younger age. Because we can live without politics. You can live without Donald Trump, no? Most of you can. We can live without anything outside. But do we have any escape from ourselves? It is still with us every day, every moment. Our conscience, our mind and our body, the both. But yet, that is the least thing we have studied. So obviously the friction should be there, no? Now I will give you an example. Let's say you are going to face an exam on physics, a paper on physics. You have no knowledge about physics at all. When you receive the paper, what will happen to you? When you receive a paper which you have no understanding at all, you will start to sweat. You will start to shiver. You will start to faint. Palpitations. The friction starts when you receive a paper which you are unaware of. But few seconds ago you acknowledge you know nothing about yourself, about your mind, about your body. But every day you are facing a paper. The life is the paper. You are facing the paper of life without no knowledge about yourself. Aren't you supposed to shiver? Aren't you supposed to sweat? That is what you are experiencing right now. So my humble proposal, you have to start some or other day by being mindful to understand about yourself, not about your kids, not about your partner, not about your material acquisitions, not about politics, about yourself. Right. So when Gautam Buddha, before his enlightenment, he underwent all these mental troubles and he always questioned. He questioned, what is this suffering I am always facing? I have wealth, I have children, I have my partner, everything is okay with my materialistic life. But still, I am in a struggle with my emotions. I am in a struggle with my own mind. I am in a struggle with my life. Then he went on a quest. That was his spiritual path. And he found out simply there is one thing to do. Understand it. Nothing more than that. Understand the chemistry within. So he uncovered the process of mindfulness and he developed certain different exercises where people can develop their awareness, the level of mindfulness. Because mindfulness itself is a skill of your mind. It's a skill of your mind. It's simply like this. Now, we all have skills, right? All of us can sing. But none of us can sing like the best singers in town. Why? he has developed the skill of singing more than us. All of us can run, but we cannot run as fast as an Olympic medal winner. Why? He has trained a lot. So similarly, we have mindfulness, but we have not trained it. We have not exercised it. Therefore, our mindfulness is so weak within. Right? But if you invest a little bit of time every day, there is a way you can develop it. So what I propose to everyone who comes to meet me, to dedicate the first hour in your day for yourself. Invest it for yourself. I won't say dedicate it for spirituality, dedicate it for mindfulness. Invest on yourself. Okay, because every day when you wake up in the morning, you would go and check your kids or check your bank balance. You always check other things, right? But what I propose is the first hour in your day, check on yourself. Now we have 60 minutes to invest, but you need a better way to invest it, right? Because you need more profit, isn't it? If you have money, you won't deposit it in a bank which it gives you the lesser return. So we have 60 minutes. I will propose you a best way to invest that 60 minutes, right? So we divide these 60 minutes into 3 parts, 20, 20, 20. First 20 minutes, right after you wake up, do a little bit of exercise for 20 minutes. Do some stretchings, right? As much as your health permits you, right? Do something to warm up your body. It's better if you can sweat a lot at the end of the session, right? Because to do a spiritual practice, your body should be prepared first. Then it will be easy. So first 20 minutes we do exercises. The next 20 minutes, you simply sit somewhere peacefully. It doesn't matter if you sit on a chair, right? But you have to be a bit concerned about your posture, right? Make it the most comfortable position for you. And the face, place it looking forward, the chin parallel to the floor, right? And then gently close your eyes and just simply observe your mind for 20 minutes. Keep an alarm so it will ring after 20 minutes. You don't have to worry about the time. You simply close. You don't want to concentrate your mind. You are not going to stop anything because you want to observe first. What we have not done for quite a long time is observing what is happening inside. So you are not meddling with it. You are not going to poke into it. You close your eyes and observe. Once you close your eyes and observe, you will notice something like this. For few seconds, it will be blank. Nothing will come. After 5-6 seconds, the thoughts will start to flow like a waterfall. It's like a waterfall, the thoughts will fall one after the other. As an example, you will remember your job. Then based on that thought, you will start thinking about, okay, I'm going to do this today, I'm going to scold that one today, I'm going to do this today, right? A thought stream will generate. What do? You observe. Then the job thought stream will end. The next thought will come. You will start to think about your pet. What should I feed him? You will start to think about that, right? So similarly, for 20 minutes, you observe the thoughts. That's it. It's very easy. First 20 minutes exercises, second 20 minutes observing the mind, and the final 20 minutes, you have to keep a journal. Keep a book, a notebook, a diary, put the date, write down the thoughts which came to your mind during the meditative 20 minutes. Within the second 20 minutes, which came to your mind, the thoughts, the emotions, and the sounds if you heard something, or the bodily sensations, emotions, sensations, thoughts, everything, as much as you can remember, you can write it down. So you have 3 steps only: exercise, meditation, journaling. Right? If somebody finds meditation is a bit difficult, right, then I will propose, okay, opt it out, work out for 40 minutes, do the exercise for 40 minutes, and then journal what came to your mind as thoughts, emotions, sensations during the exercise session. A simple workout to develop mindfulness. You get it? So after that, what do you have to do? You have to do nothing. Just face your life. You will start to reap the harvest of what you saw in the morning by when you face an event in your life, automatically you focus inside. Not like previous days, not like past. When you're angry, when you don't receive the farewell dinner, you will simply, automatically it will be focused. Naturally it will happen. That is how you develop mindfulness. So when you are mindful, when you have developed a certain level of mindfulness, your mind will start to reveal its secrets. Okay, this is the expectation you had, and this was the result, and this is the way that you wanted the result to be your expectation. It will show you are suffering because of this. Once you get to know the reason for suffering, the suffering will be over. I'm sure I believe I am clear up to now. Right. So, do you have any questions based on this? Please. I would love to, yes.
So how do you deal with the violence and the greed outside of you in the world that people exhibit toward each other?
Good question. Violence and the greed, the people exhibit. Now you have to question. I'm not going to answer. You have to question yourself. The violence, the greed outside people, is it your internal atmosphere or the external atmosphere? External atmosphere. Right? So, if you have an ambition to stop greediness in your external atmosphere, violence in the external atmosphere, is it in your full control? Is there something which is in your full control? Your internal atmosphere is mostly in your control, but not the external. So you have nothing, you can do nothing about the greediness of another person. It is very less you can do about the violence of another person, unless you call the police, and even though there is nothing much you can do. But you can do a lot with yourself. First thing, I am pretty sure you are not greed and you are not violent. If you are greed, if you are violent, you can rectify yourself. By seeing that, you can question, do I have the same nature within me? If so, I am going to correct it. Or if I am not violent, if I am not greed, but still I suffer from the external violence and external greed, how can I overcome that? That is your question. So the violence is outside. You have an internal atmosphere. If you suffer from the violence from outside, that means your expectation and the result, the reality, does not go hand in hand. Right? Your expectation is non-violence, the reality is violence. It's okay to expect non-violence, It's okay to have violence outside. But the problem is, you want your expectation to be the reality. For a moment, give it up. Give it up. Because you need peace first. Because you are worrying about something which is beyond your control. So if you suffer due to a violence of another person, mentally suffer, right? For a moment, I request you to give up your expectation of non-violence in the outside. In the very moment you give up the thinking of the reality should be your expectation, the pressure goes down. Let's say now you are in a group, right? 8 members, 9 members. It's very difficult to travel as a group, right? You're not from the same family. Even though you're from the same family, it's very difficult to travel. That's why people want to travel alone. Why? Our thinkings, our expectations, our born things are different. So you might have certain expectations about how people should hang around, but she might not. So if you are suffering throughout these 14 days because of an act of another person in your group, it's useless. You have paid a lot to suffer. The simple thing that you have to do is just give up from mind that your expectation of controlling the outside. If she is too noisy, I'm not saying that you're noisy. Okay? So if she is noisy, if you want to have a silent group, give up the expectation of silence. Let us pray. You can travel 14 days peacefully. But as much as you cling on to the expectation of non-violence or silence or peace from within, you are destroying your own peace. So how did you manage to give up all these expectations? Because you were mindful. You are mindful about, okay, what is the reason for my suffering? What she does is singing, what she does is screaming. Why I suffer because of that? Because I have an expectation. Not because I have an expectation, I want my expectation to be the reality. Give that part. Cut the nexus between expectations and the reality. You can just use a scissor. Cut it. So you are peacefully inside. Everything is dancing outside. It's a nice, this is in the Vedic teachings. Right? Now the sea, when you go on a sea voyage, right, on a ship, you find typhoons, cyclones, tsunamis on the surface level of the sea. You get high tides, low tides on the surface level of the sea. If you have traveled on a boat, you might see sometimes when a high tide comes, the boat goes up like this. But all these troubles are on the surface level. But if you go deep in the ocean, it's total calmness. No tsunamis can make it. No high tides. Nothing. You can peacefully swim if you go under. So if you are mindful, you go into the deep level of your mind. So all these calamity happens on the surface level. If you are mindful, you will be here and your experience will be somewhere else. There is no connection in between, but you simply become an observer. That I clear? Yes. Any more questions? Please.
I have one. If everybody goes back into themselves, then how does change happen on the outside?
Yes. Good question. Going back to themselves does not mean that you are a vegetable. You act. But the problem when you act is this. There are two ways that you can act. Either way of a reaction or either way of a response. But if you have no mechanism or understanding of go within, you have not much of an option. You simply react to what happens. Simply react. Eye to eye. But when you develop mindfulness, the level of reactions will decrease. The intensity of responding will go up. You will start to respond to the situation, not to react to the situation. Can you see?
Yes.
So it doesn't mean that by being spiritual you are a vegetable. You can act, but the act can happen in two ways, the reactions and responses. Mindfulness will definitely increase your responses and decrease your reaction. But if you are less mindful, you will be always reacting, no respond. It's like a wild animal. They don't respond most of the time. They simply react. With responses, you can do magic. Because sometimes, if you simply now, let's say, you have a mischievous child to tame, if you simply react, no change will happen. But if you respond, if you go in depth to her mentality and understand her problem, if you have enough mindfulness to understand the trauma that he or she has undergone, you can do magic and change the subject. Now, why do you think that no changes happen? People spend millions on social work, right? Rehabilitation. Why nothing happens? Because it's all reactive, no response. If you want to mentally treat a person, right? If you want to mentally heal a person, you have to go inside, within, and understand the question, problem. Right? For that, you need to respond, not react. Please, any questions? But what I wanted you to understand the importance of this subject. Because people tend to think this is mambo jumbo and then yes, a lot of people think this is mambo jumbo because they only see the outer surface of spirituality. Every spiritual discipline, ancient spiritual discipline, now covered with religious things. So these offerings, all these luxury things, it is on the outer surface. But within, the deep within, the spirituality is there. So fault is in us because we did not want to go in depth on the subject. Right? But if you have understood this spirituality, the path and understanding about the mind, that is the most cutting edge technology one can develop. Right? Because all these creations are based on human mind. If one can master the mind, the creations can boost more than anything. discussed, we have to understand we are part of the nature. We are part of the nature. Though we think that we have enough wealth and we have enough power, we can overcome this. You have to realize, if there are sunny days and also cyclones in the nature, the same principle applies within. You cannot stay peacefully every day. There will be cyclones. There will be tsunamis. Because that is your very nature. Because you are part of the nature. So you cannot confine your mind. Only what you can do is accept what happens. Because confining your mind and thinking of making a mind which is beautiful is then again another expectations which will not become the reality ever. I would love to receive more questions from you.
It's off the subject, but could you tell us about your journey? You were a lawyer. You know,
Right.
how did you decide to?
So, me studying and then practicing law and then being a Buddhist monk, all those things are actions, right? All those things are actions. The spirituality lies underneath of it. It started at very younger age. What I did was I was always questioning myself with what happens. Somehow I had that wisdom. Okay, I'm not saying that I have never gone mad, I have not done anything crazy, stupid things, I have done. But even after doing such things, I always question, why did I act like that? Why was I foolish like that? Or why am I so happy like this? I can remember, in certain examinations, I scored well, and I had ranks also, idle ranks. So I was so happy, and I saw my parents are they throwing parties, but from within I was questioning, why are they throwing parties for this? Why am I feeling happy about this? So this query was always there. So I would say the spirituality was there from very young age. I may have be wearing shorts, denims, or a robe. It is different fact. This robe has nothing to do with spirituality. What you wear, whether you are wearing something or whether you are naked, it has nothing to do with spirituality. It's all about questioning what happens with every human experience, with every of your experience. I was questioning. So that was my path. For living, for survival, I practiced law. Right? I was a lecturer. Because that's a different story. People can do anything. Because, yes, please.
Did you have a life event that said, I'm not going to practice law anymore?
Good question. There was not an event, but a collection of experiences that I saw. Luckily, I had the privilege to practice with most of the well-renowned lawyers in the country. I did commercial practice. Then there are certain gentlemen who are like Queen's Counsels, President's Counsels. What I saw, when they reach the top of the ladder, the ego rises simultaneously.
What rises?
The ego. What I saw is that once they have the reputation of winning cases, they always wanted to protect that reputation. They would not want to lose a single case. So with that, what happens? Since the expectations are too high, but the reality always differs with the expectation, they are always angry. They don't respond to any situation, simply react. Their families, family life, it's a havoc. I saw this. Fortunately or unfortunately, I have this ability to read other people's experience and incorporate that into myself and to evaluate it. So I was looking at my seniors. My God, am I going to be someone like this? At the end of the day, they have money, my God, money that they have. But yet, happiness is zero, always minus. They have to lease happiness. So that was the major event which I wanted to dedicate my life totally to spirituality. And also the other thing, I wanted to explain this to other people, which I have uncovered, I want to express it. So this is a good platform. People tend to believe what we say.
I think you made the right choice. Good for that.
Thank you. Because I have seen, when I pass this message of understanding, investing on themselves, life of the people changes. And not only by passing the message, when somebody incorporate this practice and gradually put it into practice, I have seen magic happening in people's life. Magic. And the people, the youngsters who have no energy, was always backward, social anxiety, they changes a lot. Anger issues, addictions, they changes a lot. So I have seen this. So I want you also to be a flag bearer, right? Now you know something about investing on your own mind. Because can you see, it's a very simple process, beneficial to your both body and mind. If you exercise, it is beneficial to your body. If you meditate, it is beneficial to your mind. So you can be a flag bearer. If you find someone in your neighborhood, in your family, who is suffering, or maybe someone that you randomly meet, tell them. First thing you have to tell. First thing, remember, what you feel right now is totally natural. The struggle, the emotional struggle you are going right now is totally natural. It's the nature. You cannot expect sunny days every time in your mind. Now you are facing a cyclone. That is you, the first thing. Then ask them to observe it. Don't tell them not to think about it. Don't tell them to retain it. Observe it. Ask them to observe. The easiest way to observe difficult emotions is to concentrate on the body. Start from head. With the anger, with the uncomfortable sensation, you check what happens on your head. Then, what is this? Forehead, eyebrows, eyes, cheeks, lips. Can you see? Even if you come across a difficult situation, difficult moment in your life, scan your body from the head. We are going to do the exercise at the end of it. If you scan your body, you are using your body itself to develop mindfulness. If you see a person suffering, tell them to do that. First, tell them what you feel right now is totally natural. Second, ask them to observe your body with that insufferable emotion. So I want you to spread the message. And since I am recording this session, my teaching, I have uploaded these things on the YouTube. I will share the link with your friend Nilanta. You can ask the link from him. He will share it with you. If you are very much interested in incorporating this practice into your life, you are most welcome to reach me. I am always ready to help you. If you are sacrificing, dedicating something for it. Right? So shall we do a little bit of meditation for 10 minutes? Where here I am going to teach you how to scan the body. So you can use this practice in a difficult situation or maybe every day, right? So what we do here is this. First, as I said, the position. Try to be in the most comfortable position. Keep your hands as in the most comfortable way. And you have to make sure that you do not change your body posture. Right? It will be a challenge. Your mind will say, just change your leg a little bit. Right? Don't do it. And the second thing, your face, please keep it facing forward. The chin parallel to the floor, because if you feel sleepy, then your head will tip like this. Then you can recognize that you are sleepy. If you start meditation like this, you will simply fall into sleep. You won't recognize. That's the second thing. And when you close your eyes, gently do it. Don't do it very roughly. Gently do it. Then I am going to take you from each part of your body part. When I say head, first thing you have to do is, first few seconds, observe the area of head. See, observe it, right? Then when I will say tense, when I say tense, you mentally tense. Put some pressure mentally onto that body part, right? Then thereafter I will say relax. You gently relax, release the tension. You will feel that the area is relaxing. Okay? So I will give the instructions to forehead, eyebrows, eyes. You have to go accordingly. First thing, you observe the area. Then when I ask you to tense it mentally. When I ask you to relax, gently relax. We will scan the entire body first and do a little bit of breathing exercise. Then I will go into the body relaxation exercise. Shall we start it? Okay. Now, be in the most comfortable position. I want you to gently close your eyes. First, feel your full body. Check whether you are in a comfortable position. If you feel that somewhere is uncomfortable, maybe your spine, maybe your hands, fingers, toes, gently adjust it and let your body relax. No tension, relax. Once you have adjusted your body, observe your breathing, the natural breathing. Observe it. Gently open your eyes. Gently open your eyes. Can you see how magical it is? Investing on yourself. So again, I propose that do it at least one time a day. Most suitable that in the morning, because there are no excuses in the morning. The very first thing you have to do is investing on yourself. Do you have any questions, any practical difficulties of meditation? My answer to that would be that if somebody feels uncomfortable in meditation because of lack of practice, you can do it at least for 5 minutes first. Not if you can't do it for 20 minutes, start from within 5 minutes. Then gradually increase the time span. Even if you find it difficult to do it for 5 minutes, you can do exercises for 40 minutes and write down the journal. So I hope you enjoyed the session, and I'm really glad if you have gained something, gained some wisdom, knowledge out of this. I believe you will introduce this to your life. I'm pretty much sure about it. And if you do not have any more questions, we will end the session. Yes?
I have a question about your chair there. Do the carvings have special meaning?
On the top of it, this is the Dharma Chakra. This is this symbols the path that we discussed. It is an eightfold path which we have no time to elaborate much. But if we go into the chemistry of the exercise that we did, it can be described in 8 different steps. That is what it symbols. And you have find the sun and moon. It shows that this dharma is eternal. Even after millions of years, this is the only way to reach enlightenment. There is no other way. That is what it says. Even if you go back to the past for millions of years or to the future for millions of years, only way to understand your mind is search within. You won't find any instrument. No endoscopy, no test can do that for you. You get it? Yes.
Could you tell us about evil? Just evil.
Are you ready to get the answer? Receive the answer? There is no evil in outside. All the evil is within. The existence, the nature has a thing called duality. There is always duality here. If you claim yourself kind, if you claim that you are a very kind person, that means in the same time, unkindness is also there. If you claim that you are God, in the same time, Satan is also you. None of the faculties in human mind can exist singularly. There is always a duality. Positive exists with the negatives. That is some deep philosophy. I don't know whether Nilanth would have time to investigate into that more. But you are more than welcome to reach me at any time if you wish. I am more than ready to explain and go into those depths of the spirituality. The question is a very deep philosophical question.
It's a deep question.
Did you get the point? Evil cannot stand alone. If you are claiming yourself non-evil, you are the one who is evil. So you ask me, what is evil? It is you and me, all of us. Okay, thank you very much for participation.